Welcome back, Washington Walk-Ons fans, episode 229 of the podcast. And today it's actually a full house. Kevin showed up to the beginning of the podcast, which is a tremendous honor for both Kluver and I to have who used to be our co-host, but now who feels like the president of the United States, join us on time for once. And then on top of that, we've got an old friend, what I'm finding out to be a very old friend for Kluver, and a tremendous human being who Kluver teased a little earlier in the maybe last episode or two episodes ago. Jon Wiz, our guy, our old roommate, good friend, tremendous human. Welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate it, fellas. Thanks for having me. Like Kluver said, it's been a long time coming. Glad to be here.
Jon, your face is so skinny, my man.
You think so?
In comparison to
compared to where I was.
I do a little
Hey,
prep.
Kluge, you looked in a mirror lately, bro?
You lost a few pounds too.
Okay. Kev out of fucking left field. Kevin's out in the middle of, I don't know. He's in the surgery room somewhere right now.
Owen sounds like it's stuck up somebody's ass.
he's doing this from inside of someone's colon. So, great start. I have your Instagram pulled up on the computer here. I'm the one who does any prep on this, if we do prep a little bit. And just scrolling back through, the face was a little more filled out. I'm sure the biceps were a little bigger. What did you weigh when we played?
I think if we're getting specific, my goal weight was like 248. I want to say that
we're specific on here.
Very. You got to make the window. So yeah, that was a few pounds ago. We dropped a few.
How'd you feel about the window and weight as a general thing during our time at Iowa?
Certainly a source of anxiety at times. I didn't have as much trouble keeping it on as some guys. I was pretty on top of it for the most part, but you couldn't mess around. You had to know where you're at coming into the facility, whether you're going to have to chug a few Powerades, whatever the case may be. And there were a few of those that happened from time to time, but for the most part, I did all right that way.
So what do you weigh now?
I am like anywhere between 225 and 230. So not compared to some guys.
You're still a little beefy.
Not too much.
Since we started this podcast off with weight and that anxiety, one time I was in the hot tub preparing for a lift when Coop came in from the weight room into the hot tub with a trash bag on and proceeded to try and cut weight while his group was weighing in.
That is, I never heard that story. That's incredible.
I think Drake, you told me that one time, but I don't know if it was on the podcast. Man.
Yeah, man. He literally, and then I wanted to see what was going to happen. I went into the weight room. I followed him into the weight room and they were just screaming like, where the fuck have you been?
You got to get it by any means, man.
There was some funny stuff.
You got to work for it.
Yeah. How heavy did you come in at?
I was a skinny guy. Maybe 210, 215, I want to say my freshman year.
And the private money at Dowling Catholic just couldn't get you any higher than that, or
that's about as good as I could do. I just didn't. I don't know. I mean, I burned a lot of calories in high school. I was lucky I had a good metabolism, but that first 6 months, it was like packing on the pounds. I still remember. I don't know if it was Ray Hamilton or somebody talking to me, commenting on the six packs that I had back in the day, and he's like, "You kiss that goodbye in about 4 months," and lo and behold. By that spring, I was about 15 pounds heavier.
Yeah. So for the listeners, Jon Wiz, you guys have heard us mention him kind of in passing about the Benton group. Jon is kind of like he's like the maybe the forgotten member of the Benton Savages, I would say. He lived in the front house with Kevin and I, and he lived in the upstairs. It was like Jon's attic.
The loft.
It was like this. It was. I wish everyone could see the room. He lived with his shoe collection of had to be just 200 pairs of shoes.
Too many.
And do you still have all those?
No, I sold most of them. I still got a few pairs hanging around. If anybody's wearing a size 13 and is interested, you can hit me up.
Man. And then did you move out in the final?
Yeah, so Connor and I moved in together. Like it was literally down the street.
Right.
That new apartment that went up by the Come and Go.
We for like a year and a half or so.
Just senior year.
Just last year.
That was it. Yep.
Yeah, and so Jon is part of the squad, and even before that, I knew all about Jon Wiz because take it back to circa 2000 and probably 5 was the first time, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
On the AAU baseball circuit in Iowa, Jon was at the time he probably wasn't that big, but he looked damn near as big as he looks now to us. And he played on the West Des Moines Cubs, who were a select team, and the Marshalltown Bobcats, who were not a select team.
Town team.
We're pretty good at baseball for a town only team. Like we were decent. Yeah. But when we faced Jon Wiz and the Iowa Cubs in the state championship game of the 2006 AAU baseball tournament, I had never seen someone throw a little white baseball so goddamn fast in my life, dude. And neither had my teammates. We got 0 hits. I think we made contact twice because they had Jon Wiz and another kid, lefty, named Brock Everett. And
on the tour now. I don't know if you guys heard that. He made the tour, PGA tour. Yeah, wow. I can't remember what tournament, but
he could smoke it on the mound and he can golf like a motherfucker.
Well, yeah, that was the crazy thing to me is that he would be golfing like every weekend and it never messed up his baseball swing. I did not understand that. Like he could still do both. He'd always have like one hand that was just completely white and then everything else, because he'd been out on the course all morning.
I had it the exact same way, Wiz, and that's because I hit the ball from the opposite side. I was a right-handed batter and a left-handed golfer.
That probably helped. Yeah.
It was amazing. Nobody got to play golf and baseball at the same time except for this guy.
Seriously. But he was lefty, and he managed to do, I don't know how he did it. Yeah.
But I had it the good way.
And this kid, Drake and Kev, this kid, who threw faster, you or him?
It was pretty close. I think I probably had him by like a mile an hour or two.
And you guys were like touching 70s, I'm pretty sure, in like 6th grade.
It was pretty early. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, back then.
Do you remember AJ Puck?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He had Tommy John.
You three.
Puck was like that too. He's still playing.
Puck was like the number 2 overall pick.
Well,
yeah, he was nice.
Yeah, and I thought back then that you would still be playing baseball at this point, Jon. Like I thought you were going to have a 15-year career in the MLB. I was convinced because I hit everybody in the state, but I couldn't touch John Dub. So, like, what would take me all the way back to that and what the young Jon Wiz thought his athletic life was going to look like in 6th grade moving forward?
Yeah, it was definitely baseball. That was kind of my first love. So my dad played in college. He played at Iowa State.
Yep.
Before they got rid of the program in like 2001, I want to say. So you mentioned that team. We started that team with Nick Burnaby.
Yep.
And Anthony Dankinger, a couple other guys, but those were kind of some of the main families. And we had started that 2003 or 2004. And we played on the same travel ball team for 6 years. I guess it would have been 5 or 6 years in a row every summer.
And you kicked ass.
On the road. We were pretty good. I wouldn't say like it was select. It was definitely select, but we weren't like some of these ones that you'd have tryouts and stuff.
Sure.
Like it was more of a family atmosphere. We just happened to have a pretty good team on top of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for most of my grade school years, like baseball was definitely the focus. I pitched and played first base mainly, played some in the outfield. But when I got to high school, things changed a little bit. I haven't told many people this, but I had a pretty bad case of the yips my freshman year. You guys know what that is? Yeah.
Oh, I know. Like specialists know all about the yips.
Okay. Yeah. You should know that for sure. It's like, it can be debilitating, where you're like, all of a sudden, like, did I forget how to throw a baseball?
I got it for two. I've never told anybody this. I got it for 2 weeks in the middle of our junior year.
Oh, man.
I couldn't snap a spiral for 2 weeks. So you know what I did? I just didn't fucking snap at practice. And I just hoped that I figured it out in the games. And you
just got to kind of shut your mind off.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And it worked. And then eventually it came back. But like there was 2 weeks during our junior year where in the middle of the season, I did not snap a ball other than team period and on game day.
That's wild. I didn't know that. That's seriously, the yips are real, man. Like even guys in the pros get that from time to time. I can't remember who it was. One of these MLB pitchers wouldn't.
I remember.
He might still be playing. He won't throw to first base.
Nope.
He will not throw to first base either. I'm talking about picking people off. Like like people know he just won't throw over because he's like freaked out about it. He can only throw the mound. But anyway, I had that experience my freshman year, just kind of like shifting out of a team where it was like my dad's the coach, and now all of a sudden, like I'm with all these kids I don't know, kind of freaked me out a little bit. And ended up being okay as I got older, but just never really had the same experience in high school that I did growing up. And then at that point, I kind of started to get bigger, taller, put on some weight, and Dowling's kind of a football school, so I began to focus more on that, like come sophomore year, thereabouts.
How did it feel to buy all your state championships?
I knew this was going to come up. You know, when I was there, it wasn't like that.
This is 2v2. This is 2v2 now because Kevin's a Catholic private school as well. So
that's true. Kevin knows how that goes. Yeah, I mean, I was expecting this to come up.
Beat him on the field, Drake. I don't know what your problem is.
Sorry. Everybody loves to hate him.
Didn't get the opportunity to play Dowling.
18-year-old kids like you
would have lost. We did not have too many Jon Wizzes running around Muscatine
or Amara Darbos.
I was worse than Wiz in high school by a significant margin, and I was considered our best player. So that's where that game would have gone, Kev.
Hey, Wiz, question for you. Did y'all like? I know some Catholic schools out there give like scholarships to athletes. Did y'all do that or no?
Not that I know of. No.
Yeah, no, we never did that either. It was there's some schools around our area would give it to like freshmen just to get them in the door, but this argument out there that the private schools are out there recruiting kids and they come here to free, it don't really hold up to real life a whole lot.
No, people just want to play. I mean, now like they had a couple good years early on, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, they won 2 in a row, they won 3 in a row, they won 4 in a row. It's like people want to play somewhere that they're winning.
They finally got
small town kids get more exposure if they come into town. There's no school district, so you don't have to worry about that either. Right. That's a big part of it. They just show up. You don't have to go out and recruit anybody.
Yeah, I was actually at the old Dowling Catholic High School the other day working with their long snapper. So now I'm just contributing to the problem now.
Yeah, see, you're right on board with us.
They're building a new.
Kluver's a huge sellout, Wiz. This dude, he'll fucking sell out to anybody.
And I'm not even gonna.
NIL, baby.
Yeah, there's no refute there. I just tweeted yesterday that if Culver's would have paid me, I would have dressed up like a Butterburger and snapped long
Hey, you and me both, man.
Yeah, cheese curds into people's mouths for $200 and some free hot fudge sundaes. Yeah, man, I had it in my mind that Jon Wiz was going to play baseball, but then we did get to high school, and obviously Dowling, we played you guys several times, basketball, football, so we saw each other, 3-4 times a year. And as some of the I hate to say this, and I really, but as a better athlete in the state, I'll say you were a better athlete in the state. I'm not going to include myself in that, but you see articles and kind of the highlights, you're starting to get the recruiting, stuff like that. And somehow, some way they leaked a little Anavar into the water over in West Des Moines because fucking John blew up. This guy must have been living in the weight room. Dude slept under the squat rack because John turned into Phil Heath like sophomore year, and I didn't know what happened. I was very confused. John, please tell me. We talked to Mark when we had Weissman on. Yeah. He said he would just go in the weight room and he would just do every machine for like 5 sets to failure and then leave. What was your high school lifting? Like, how did you get that big? Do you attribute some of this to like good genetics that you just hit it? Okay.
Yeah. I would say more than anything else. A lot of it was just, natural growth.
Oh, look at his face.
I know. He's beautiful. He is.
We didn't have like a crazy lifting program. We did BFS. I think it was bigger, faster, stronger. So it was probably more structured than a lot of schools.
So,
what's that, Kev?
Yeah, we did that too at my school. I mean, I feel like half the high school programs out there did bigger, faster, stronger.
Yeah. So it wasn't anything nuts. Let's see. So freshman year, I didn't play basketball, and at that point, I was like probably 6'3" or 6'4", and knew that football was kind of starting to become the move. And so I just during that winter, like really hit the weights at home, and came out like sophomore year. I was probably 6'4", maybe 200 pounds, something like that.
And lean and mean.
Lean, yeah, I was lean for sure.
Dude, that is absurd for a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah, I outgrew everybody pretty early on, so
yeah,
that helped out.
Whoever had to guard you was pissed. They got the lineup in basketball or football, and they were just like, "Hey guys, I need help." So, are we double teaming this guy? Like, what's going on? They got the Hulk on their roster.
Got to bang him down low. I was never the fastest guy. Wasn't gonna out jump you probably, but I can hip check with the best of them.
Listen, man, in Iowa high school football, you were probably out jumping some folks.
That's true. Yeah, you're probably right.
Because I out jumped everybody, and at Iowa, that's not the case. So you probably were doing all right.
Now, true story, John. Senior year, Dowling Catholic made their way to Marshalltown High School in the fall. Beat us about 42-10 or 42-13 or something. But do you remember when I Clay Matthew'd to your sideline?
I do not remember this.
Thank
I
God,
do remember.
John.
Was it Hawk? Was it Hawk? Somebody crack blocked you or something. I can't remember. Like you had like
yeah, I got hit hard.
Yeah, like you said, you burst like an eye, like a vessel in your eyeball.
Oh yeah. If
like
you go to my Instagram, you can still see that. I got
I think it was that game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was that game, and I actually got taken out, and I wasn't able to play the final, I don't know, quarter and a half. Not that we really were gonna change the outcome of that thing. On the sideline, there was like somebody got like whipped around, and an arm flew into my face mask, and
that's what it was.
A nail like got my eye, and it turned me into like an alien for
it was
2 or 3
it was
days.
like red.
It was weird. When did the recruiting pick up? When was it, and what did it look like for you? Because you were probably one of the higher recruited recruits in our class.
Yeah, how cool was it, dude? How fucking cool was it?
Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely a pump to the ego for
and
sure.
How did you not end up in Palo Alto?
They didn't offer me.
I thought you did get offered.
I thought for sure, dude. The rumor was that you had a Stanford offer.
Nope. I went out there and visited like a West Coast trip maybe my junior year, and I saw Oregon, and then I saw Stanford, and it was really cool, but they never pulled the trigger. That started, like
look at how beautiful you are. Wow. Look at that.
You got Instagram on the computer? You can do that?
Dude, yeah, bro. I got it all.
Oh my goodness. You're embarrassing me.
No, I just wanted to bring it up. But yeah, I was convinced that you had a Stanford offer, but you had other Big Ten offers and Iowa State.
Yeah. So it started like junior year. Going into junior year, like I remember going on recruiting trips during basketball season that winter.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa was the first school to offer.
Okay.
And then I think Iowa State came after that, and then who else?
Shocker.
So funny story. George Kittle's dad
Yep.
came to recruit me from Oklahoma. He came to one of our basketball practices. I think it was my junior year.
Before you ever knew George.
Before I ever knew George, anything about George, his dad came to practice one day because he was still like an assistant, I think, down at Oklahoma for a while.
Yep.
Which is funny. I forgot about that. Yeah. So they came. Purdue and let's see.
Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois offered me. Ben Neiman's dad recruited me there. It's kind of funny seeing all these connections, but
small circles.
And then randomly I got a call from Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss.
Wow.
and I got an offer down there. Like I'd never talked to them at all. It was wild. Like he just called me on the phone. Like, is this like what is this real life?
Hottie toddy Jon.
I might have gone to the SIP just to check it out.
Serious, yeah. So yeah, I picked up my junior year, but in Nebraska too. I forgot to mention that. So the two schools that I really seriously considered were Iowa and Nebraska.
Just and those shitbirds are always an afterthought.
So my dad's family's from Nebraska, so like I had to give it a little bit of credence. I wanted to go check it out, but really like Iowa offered first, and that really meant a lot to me because it takes a lot to. I mean, you know, a lot of times when you get an offer, like a lot of other schools will kind of come in after that, but to like be the first one means something. It means they're willing to like take a risk and take a shot.
Yeah.
So that. I mean, after a while, it became very apparent that that's where I wanted to go. So,
we move into the dorms, and it's 2013, and God, you lived with you were with
Ike.
You were with Ike.
Yeah.
And so legendary room on the second floor.
Not a lot of room in that room. It was a tight squeeze.
No, you were fitting a lot. There was a lot of man meat.
We had like 2 mini fridges, you know, feet hanging off the edge of the bed.
Oh God.
It was an experience.
What was it like living?
I remember Ike used to give people haircuts in that room too.
Oh yeah. All the time. All the time. Saved a lot of money that way.
What was it like? What was it like living with Ike freshman year? Like, is there a word to describe that experience?
Just a lot of food. A lot of food.
So nothing changed.
Like, no, nothing's changed. Like, I want to say, you guys probably know better than I would, but maybe the second bye week, he switched to O-line. Like, it didn't take long.
Pretty quick.
He was like 235 coming in, you know, and he had the
frame They gave him the courtesy. They gave him like the courtesy few months, like, oh yeah, sure, you can be a tight end, knowing full well
you'll catch the ball, sure.
The problem is that I think if they would have left Ike at tight end, he would have found a way to be in the league right now at tight end. Like
probably.
I think
he's athletic.
He's athletic as shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he can manage.
And maybe
used to come home. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was gonna say, he had the Achilles and he dealt with some other injuries. And a lot of that is probably due to
it's all weight related.
Sheer, it's all because of the weight he put on his frame. At tight end, he might have been healthier and able to do more, but I mean, he's still doing all right out in Buffalo.
Doing all right. So he's doing all right.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, videos, Wiz, of his kids slugging protein shakes.
Today he looks exactly like him.
His kid's gonna be big. Dude, Clay's
got another one now too.
Oh, and yep, congrats to second time new dad Ike. He now has 2 children. So shout out to one of the Benton Savages. I mean, that guy, him and Kate, God, Katie's what a saint she is.
She's a saint.
Just a great family. But anyway, that was who you were with freshman year.
You know what? I just got an idea that we should probably do. I think it'd be hilarious. Is we should start having the women of Benton Street on for guests. If we got like Katie and Mick, I think that'd make some great guests.
That'd be good content.
That'd be like a 40 episode series from the back house.
Dude, the absolute unraveling of Drake Kulik that both of those women have witnessed. They've seen some despicable shit out of me, dude.
Mick and Katie. Oh, so okay, we're really going deep here, but this is what it is. It's the 337 Benton podcast right here /339 with Drake. So obviously it was just the guys who lived in the back house, but I mean, damn, near the end of our careers, actually Mick did live in the house for a while.
Yeah.
With Josie in the one room, and Katie was always there. So it was really like a house with 6 people in it. And then at any point in time, there was also, we were up there or back there from the front house, or there was other teammates there or other friends. Yeah. I mean, that house had like 10 people in it at all times.
It was the place to be. It was a great setup.
The women of Benton, that would be, oh boy. So Well, you know what, Kev? We'll hang that on the Post-it board.
Put a pin in it. Put a pin in it.
And just let it marinate a little bit.
And then do we include all of the women?
Well, that's why I said it might be a 40 episode series. But anyway, so we get to Iowa City. What was your expectations of Iowa football, Division I football, John? And this is just me being insecure as a 5'10" fat kid from Marshalltown, but like I would have killed to have what you had walking in, just because the whole thing is like, oh, everyone's bigger, everybody's faster.
Yeah.
And that was the case for me. I mean, I wasn't bigger or faster either than anyone. And I also had Drake psycho ass as a roommate, and he was lean enough to compete in bodybuilding shows when we walked into Hillcrest. So
yeah, I remember that.
like, and he was, he had his own issues that
the crotch rocket. I remember all that.
Yeah, and the brass knuckles and everything. So, man, I was like a deer in headlights. How did you feel coming in?
Yeah, not too bad. Dowling, I think, did a really good job preparing me for, I mean, in a certain sense, like nothing can prepare you for what came, because it was just like so much more structured and more intense than anything that had come before. But Dowling really did do a good job of like, getting me ready for, I mean, we did things by the book in high school.
Yep.
So coming in to Iowa was like, well, I know I just got to put my nose down and work, like just shut up and do my work, because I got a long ways to go. Specifically, being a tight end spot, we had CJ Fiedorowicz there my freshman year.
Decent.
You want to talk about just a massive human being.
Yeah.
Like I think he played at like 265, and he was like nimble. It was nimble. Yeah. And who else? Ray Hamilton, Doozy, Hank, George.
God,
so I knew there was a lot of guys in the room. It's like I'm back down at the bottom of the totem pole. I'm just gonna like keep my mouth shut and my eyes and my ears open and learn as much as I can, and try to stay out of trouble and just do the right thing. And yeah, it wasn't I would say as much of a shock to my system as I think maybe some of the other guys coming in, just because I had gone to a school that was pretty structured.
That makes sense. As time went on, we're tight NU, by the way, if you didn't know. And we're coming out with a shirt, so
I like that. Sign me up.
Your football career, the representation of the rest of our time at Iowa, did not pan out like Fant, Hockenson, really those two. I don't even include George, because George wasn't George in college.
That is true. Yeah.
How did you were injured our second year in 2014, and do you see that as something that wrong place, wrong time kind of kept you back from maybe reaching your potential as a tight end? Or how do you view how your football career on the field played out? It's not to say you didn't contribute. You got on the field, played some special teams a little bit,
yeah.
And did something that a lot of people don't do, which is finish through the program. I mean, you ran out on senior day. You've got the picture right here to prove it. You've got the Pinstripe Bowl. I mean, you remember more of the Pinstripe Bowl than Kevin does. Everybody does. What, in your own words, describe kind of your time through the end of Iowa?
Yeah. It was hard, man. Like, I'm going to be honest. Coming in with certain, personal expectations, maybe expectations from family and friends, high school coaches, fellow teammates, what have you. Like, having that not pan out was really difficult.
Yeah.
Really difficult. And, I did get hurt early on. I tore my ACL the spring of my freshman year.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm not in the business of making excuses.
Excuses
that certainly set me back.
They're for wusses, by the way.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Like he can wrestle without any ACL. So like, I'm not going to complain about tearing one and coming back, so it did set me back for a little while, but it was early on. It was tough. It was tough. Not seeing like the fruits of my labor and like putting in the work every day and not being able to run out there. And there's a lot of stories like that.
Yep.
There's a lot of stories like that you don't hear about. And could I have possibly gone somewhere else and maybe had a better chance of getting on the field? Sure.
Did you ever consider that?
No,
No,
not in the least.
Not even at all.
No.
Wow.
No, I had made the commitment there, and they had been honoring it too. Because I think people forget, like scholarships are year to year. They have to re-up that every year.
Yep.
At least it was when I was there. I think it's still the case now.
Yeah, Drake knows.
Yeah. And that meant a lot to me, and like I wanted to finish up.
Sorry, Drake. That was hard. That was fucking harsh. Sorry, you guys you shit on me all the time, and I feel so bad. That was bad. I'm sorry, man.
No, man, I'm not hurt at all. That it's been discussed.
That was bad. Anyway, John, sorry.
No, yeah, you're fine.
It's the harsh reality that is Division I college football.
I mean, it is a representation of what John was saying, though. Like they are year to year.
Yeah, and they continue to honor that, and I was like, well, I want to finish out. I'm not a quitter.
Yep.
Are my chances of getting on the field very high? Realistically, no. But for me, I mean, I love football. I love being on the team. My perspective on things was, I think, a little bit broader, though. Like I was really committed to my schoolwork, and I wanted to stay there. Part of the reason why I went to Iowa was because they had a good business school. And it was just going to be too much work to like up and leave. Like I'd made all these friends here. It was just not something that ever really crossed my mind seriously. Like I wanted to, you mentioned like senior day. I wanted to run out on senior day, hug and kiss my mom and dad and say like, I made it through, because it's not for everybody. Not everybody can do that. So that was kind of my motivation. Yeah, it's not easy, man. It's not easy.
It's not even close to easy. The amount of respect that Kevin, me, Drake, I think there was only, aside from us four, I think there was only 10 other guys in our class that did it that year. And 2 of them were Ben and Miles from the class that didn't redshirt. So you're talking about 37 guys and 12 of us made it. 4 of us sitting here on this podcast. I don't have the same respect or, I don't look at those other guys the same way. Not that I don't respect them as people, but you're just on a higher level because you went through that, especially someone like you, or we've talked about Gaffey,
Hewlett.
Connor Keene.
Connor didn't go all the way through senior day.
I guess you're right.
He made it pretty far.
Connor's close though.
He made it all the way to the very last year, and Connor, like, you know what? I'm gonna focus on my real life.
He's doing other things now.
Yeah, we got respect for him on a higher level for other reasons because he's just way better at life. Yeah, him and Manders, they left right after that right before that last
Manders
year
too. Shoot.
And so it's just like that's so tough, man, and it's incredibly something to be respected. And it's wild to hear for me that you didn't have any internal dialogue, but you were always committed to school much more than I was. And you're a guy of big faith. And how did that play a role in your football career?
Yeah.
In regards to just knowing that this was your path and it's what you wanted to do, because that was always a large part of who you are still today, and we'll get there, but who you were in college as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't always that way. That's for sure. And in a lot of ways, like I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I hadn't gone through what I did in college and really like wrestled. Just with, I mean, you guys talked about, I just listened to the thing that you released today of the previous podcast from 2 years ago about just mental health and specifically like this sort of crisis of identity that you have post college, post athletic career. And I was thinking about that, and like in a lot of ways, what you guys were kind of processing after we got done in 2017, Pinstripe Bowl, I had already kind of been going through for a couple of years, really like struggling with like, that the injury my freshman year was tough physically, but as anybody I think would tell you, mentally even more so.
That grind you don't even wish it upon your enemies because it's so hard on you.
You just feel isolated. The rehab, you don't feel like you're so much part of the team, even especially unfortunately with Kinnick, like the sidelines are so small. Like I was watching games in the stands. I was riding my moped to the stadium on Saturday mornings. I'm like, I'm supposed to be out there with the boys, and I can't even do that. It was really tough. And for a while I was in a pretty dark spot. And around that time, I'd gotten involved with Athletes in Action, which is evangelical sports ministry that they have on campus. You guys might remember Jim Goodrich.
Yep.
Met a lot of students through there. And it's funny because you guys talk so much about identity. That was like the core principle for Athletes in Action, because it was a Christian ministry, but it was focused on ministry to student athletes. And at big Division I schools where, hey, like I've been an athlete my whole life. This is who I am, this is how I introduce myself to people, what have you, to get there. And for me, it was earlier on where I'm like, things aren't panning out, man. Like I'm not getting playing time. I'm like embarrassed by it. I'm frustrated, all the emotions. They really preached identity. Where is your identity at? Like, are you just kind of the sum total of your athletic achievements? And if you subscribe to that idea, man, you are going to be all over the place. You know how it goes. Some days you'll have a good.
Welcome to the Drake Kulik Show, ladies and gentlemen. Jon Wiz just described it to a T.
Dude, so many people go through it, seriously. Like, and it doesn't get talked about all that much because it's a high pressure environment. There's a lot of testosterone, and it's like you gotta act like nothing phases you. But man, like there's a lot of pressure to perform well and to meet expectations. We think about scholarship guys versus non-scholarship guys. Like, what the heck am I doing? I'm not on the field, that kind of thing. And just kind of in and through that ministry, like it really woke me up to like take a step back again, sort of take a broader perspective and be like, I love football, man, but like life is so much bigger than football. And for me, my faith has been the rock that I've really grounded everything on. And no matter what happens on the field, and things got a lot better from that point on. It's like no matter what happens on the field, my identity is in Christ. And come what may, I'm going to bust my ass. I'm going to do everything I can to be a good teammate. But I'm not going to let that mess me up inside when I don't have the success that I'd like to. So that really helped me early on in my career.
That's so interesting to hear that you went through some of the stuff that we kind of verbally expressed in that episode in the middle of still playing, having to figure that out. And I think Drake could probably attest to this too. Having to figure that out as a 19, 20-year-old. I mean, it was tough to go through at 23, 24. To some extent, I still feel like even today, I think we probably, maybe we don't, but I think we probably all have these thoughts of like, who am I? Like, what is and who is Tyler Kluver if I meet somebody who's never met me before, knows nothing about what do I care about? And who am I as a person? And what do I rest on as what makes me me? And I'm still figuring that out. Fitness is a huge part of my life now. Kev is now officially in the office, made it home for whoever's watching the YouTube version. And to figure all that out and to think that you were doing that, and a lot of people do at 20 while juggling the academics, the schedule of Division I athletics, that is wild, man. That is wild. And it just builds the respect level because that's a lot to go through.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I had no other choice, really. I had no other choice. Like I was in a pretty rough spot that, let's see, it would have been fall of 2014 because I was still rehabbing at that point. I was not in a good place.
And just to be selfish real quick, there's often times when I realize as an adult, as we grow up, where I was like, damn, I should have been like, I missed on that. And that makes me feel like a shitty roommate because I probably should have checked in or like talked to you more or something like that.
It goes both ways, man. I mean, I know Kev mentioned that too. Like there has to be a two-way street. And again, something that guys, I think in particular, guys struggle with is like just being honest, like admitting that you're struggling with stuff and not just trying to internalize everything to the point that it just like sort of boils over, because that's very easy to do as men. So.
Yeah, especially as highly competitive alpha male type guys. Yeah. It's actually the easier choice to not talk to somebody about it.
Right. It's prideful, it's like nothing can get to me, like I'm not going to admit my weaknesses. Like it's no way to go through life, really.
So then as time went on, it obviously you said it got better. And then that's kind of, that was your anchor sort of through the rest of your career?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
For sure. It got to the point where I didn't get so anxious about, it wasn't just on the field stuff. It was in the weight room too, like, am I going to meet my times? Am I going to meet my weights? Like all these kinds of things, everything is measured. It got to the point where I didn't care so much. And I don't want to make it sound like I didn't care about performing. I certainly did. Like I was going to bust my ass and do everything I could to improve. And I actually, like my senior year, my numbers in the weight room got a lot better than they had been previously. And a lot of that had to do with just playing free and lifting free and not being so anxious about stuff all the time. So yeah, like it really did ground me for the rest of my time there.
You happen to play the position with a couple guys that are really good.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear in your words what makes those guys so good. And then I also want to hear and I'm just assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, but I also want to hear your thoughts on Coach Woods and your perspective as a player playing for him, because we all love Coach Woods and he's a great guy. And I'd love to hear for someone who actually sat in the room with him day in, day out, kind of what you learned from him and what you took away off the field from Coach Woods. But Noah, Hawk, Kittle, talk about those guys.
Oh man. Oh gosh, where do I start? George is a ham. Whenever anybody asks me about George, that's like the first thing that comes to mind. Dude's a ham. Like he just loves to be in the spotlight, and he has done such a good job of marketing himself. And you could see that in college a little bit, but like KF and Doyle kind of pulled the reins in on that. And he is always gifted, it was always a matter of like, when is he going to start really taking care of his body? I think he would admit that himself, and he started to towards the end of his career and like just took off because he was just so raw, so much just raw athleticism. And he's fun to watch, like just super explosive. And not a big guy in college. Like people forget, I think Rose Bowl game. He was 220. He was playing at 220 in the Rose Bowl. He had gotten sick that week. I don't know if you guys remember that. He got some bug.
He lost like 8 pounds that week, but
because I saw him facing his hands at the Dave and Buster's, and I was like, "Damn, what did George do to get himself in trouble at Disney World, bro?"
He didn't leave his room for like 2 days, man.
And then I found out that he was actually sick. I thought he was in trouble with KF.
No, he was not feeling good. But yeah, people forget that. I mean, he probably topped at maybe 235, 240 while he was at Iowa. Maybe. But like, he could block anybody. That's the crazy, because he was just so quick. The same thing with Noah and TJ. I still remember it was Noah's incoming freshman, like during the summer, and we're just out there. Like it was the first time that we've been out running routes, and I see this dude come out of this cut, and I'm like, I'm in trouble, boys. Like there's no chance. Like this guy.
You thought to yourself, well, that isn't in my repertoire.
Okay,
so.
I can't do that. Like he was just so freaky athletic. Could jump out of the gym and was just so incredibly explosive. And that's especially with blocking. Like just first step is so important to be able to get your foot in the ground before somebody else does. And like those two guys did that incredibly well. TJ was just like smooth. Smooth, nice feet,
great hands,
solid
like butter.
hands. He's like, people forget, but like Hank, Hank was a stud. Like, he was a go-to guy.
And he got his shot in the league too for a little bit.
He did. Yeah. He was, I mean, he was getting his number called on third down all the time.
Yep.
That year. And he deserves a shout out for sure, because that guy was, I mean, he's just the man.
We got to have Hank on. Bad.
You should.
Hank's down here with me in Tucson. He's down in Tucson.
Is he really?
Yeah. We were at George's bachelor party because obviously he's still married, or he's already married, but he had it out in Scottsdale, and Hank was in here.
Do you still have the flip phone?
Hank?
Yeah.
I don't think he still has a flip phone.
No.
But Hank looks very, very similar to me right now.
Does he got the beard going still?
Big beard, and not a big beard anymore. It's a tamed beard, but beard and long hair.
Yeah. He's just a stallion. Like, there's no other way to put it. The man is a legend. He was just so consistent throughout his career. And that 2015 season, I mean, he came through in the clutch so many times. Best hands I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Could catch anything.
He can.
So, anyway.
Coach Woods.
Yeah.
What do you think about him?
Yeah, no. It was a hard transition to make, I would say, going from Coach Hernandez to Coach Woods. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, to have a coaching change in between, that was as tough on him, I think, as it was on us,
Yeah.
But he's a good man. He still will reach out to me, text me, thinking about you, wish the family Merry Christmas, all this kind of stuff. I had a good experience with him. It's tough because you wish you would have gotten more of a shot, but at the same time, it's like, look at the guys that are in front of you.
Right.
Like, how can you not play a guy like Noah Fant? How can you not play a guy like TJ Hockenson? Guys that just have so much raw talent.
I always liked Coach Woods because he was so worried about when he came. So then he made another switch, and he switched to special teams our senior year, not full special teams coach, but special teams coordinator. Now he actually is with the specialists every day inside their room. And he was so worried about being a student of the coaching position. He's like, I don't know shit. I don't know shit about special. Like, when he first came in, he's like, Klug, you got to help me. I don't know. Like, what do I tell the snappers? I don't know anything about snapping it. And he was always so worried about, I mean, his work ethic to just get better and learn was
very,
crazy.
very conscientious, conscientious, was always, in on film, and to go, I mean, obviously you're going against linebackers a lot. So as a linebacker coach, you kind of know tight end tendencies, what kind of routes they're running, but to make that switch and to go from offense to defense is not an easy thing to do, especially obviously at that level, so credit to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ran into our man, Coach Woods, on Saturday.
Did you really? Where at?
The View.
Yes, around town, of course.
Of course, yeah, exactly.
Kevin's king of Iowa City now. So
I am. I actually couldn't walk out of the house that day and not see somebody I knew.
Yeah,
kind of pissed my girlfriend off. But they were having so for recruiting trips now, they take the parents out too. So like when the kids go off with their hosts or whatever, they took the parents up to View, and there's a bunch of coaches there. I ran into all of them. It was pretty cool.
Good spot.
Yeah. The I'm on your Instagram first of all, and I see Hank and you and Pete and Ray.
Legendary. #Hank.
Incredible guy. But then I also see I forget that the other Dowling product and good friend of Jon Wiz is Matt Hawk, who played for Arizona State. He was a receiver, punter for Dowling, and now went to the Dolphins, played there for like 3 or 4 years, now plays with Ike in Buffalo. So how's our guy Matt? When's the last time you talked to him?
Like 2 hours ago.
Oh, really?
He's back home for like a week or so. So he actually came back. A good friend of mine from high school got ordained a priest this past weekend. So Matt drove back from Buffalo for that.
Wow.
I don't know if you would have remembered Reed at all. He was a state qualified wrestler, but he was the
last name
middle linebacker. Reed Flood.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Played middle linebacker for us, stud athlete. But anyway, Matt was back in town for that, and
also
he reached out to me about. Yeah, good dude.
Wiz, how many middle linebackers do you think turn priests on average?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Not
per
very
year
many.
in high
Not
school
many.
football. How many starting middle linebackers go on to be priests?
You don't hear that very often.
Not this one.
Muscatines did not.
No. Well, hey, you know Andrew though? What's his last name? Rowenbuehler? Rowenbuehler?
Yeah,
Does that name sound familiar?
I played with Luke.
Okay. Yeah. So he's I don't know if he's ordained yet, but I met him up in St. Thomas, and he said to say hello. I meant to mention that. That dude's. I see him in the gym sometimes. I'm like, holy crap, who is this guy?
And here's the funny thing. Since you mentioned it, it's unbelievable that we made it all the way back to the Rombuler family. But Mrs. Rombuler is actually my how am I going to forget? When you're 16 or 17 in church, you go through this classes, confirmation. She is my confirmation sponsor.
No kidding.
Yeah, Luke is a lifelong friend. We grew up playing all sports together forever. We went to Hayes Catholic School together, Central Middle School, Muscatine High School. Andrew Rombuler is an absolute 10 out of 10, and he was the hottest commodity in Muscatine out of every male in the entire city. But he was going to be a priest, and he was like, I'm not interested in you ladies. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. I think he's either got one more year or he just got ordained. I'm not sure. I would have seen him a couple months ago.
Shout out to the Rombuler family. Absolute legends. Love you guys. Hope you're doing well.
So you mentioned St. Thomas, John. After we graduated, you pursued a master's in theology.
That is correct. Yeah. So I had a little bit of a hiatus. I finished my the master's degree I did at Iowa in the official title of the degree is leisure studies, which doesn't sound so great, but
so in 20 years they're going to come out with the Jon Wiz scandal where you didn't take real classes.
Right. I just learned a hammock or something like that. No, it was basically sports business.
Right.
And I did that. Let's see, it would have been my 5th year of eligibility. So that fall and then the following spring. And then during the summer, I did an internship with the iCubs. That would have been 2018. And I was out of Iowa City at that point. Mm-hmm. And then in the fall, I was actually down in Phoenix, Drake, in Mesa, working for the Arizona Fall League, which is like the top, all the top prospects from the MLB minor league system come in and play basically like it's like grad school for baseball players. It's like all the top guys. They want to see the top talent play each other. And I was down there for like just a seasonal internship, basically running the spring training stadium for the Cubs, Sloan Park.
Mesa is a shithole.
Yeah, I didn't venture into Mesa all that often. I was in Scottsdale most of the time. That's where I stayed.
Scottsdale, not so much, but Mesa is not a nice place.
Yeah, I wasn't over there all that often. The stadium around the stadium was very nice, but it was very close to the edge of town. But I did that for 3 or 4 months, and during my time down there, I had decided, it's cool of an opportunity as this is. There's something more out there that I wanted to do, and it just wasn't. I just knew it wasn't where I felt like I was being called. So the spring of 2019, I moved up to St. Paul and started school up there.
And how was that? Are you like, I don't want to, like, what is theology? Is that like,
what is theology? Study of God.
What is life, man?
What is life? I mean, it's metaphysics, it's philosophy, it's the study of the church. It's
a well-rounded.
Yeah, it's stuff from a 30,000 foot view. So I mean, the easiest comparison is with philosophy, and learning about church teaching, learning about the Bible. Moving up there was a unique experience because you go from being a football player for 5 years at Iowa where, like everybody knows who you are. Everybody loves football. They're big into Hawkeye athletics too. Now I'm in class with people that, don't know anything about sports, could care less about sports. Like the guy that I worked for, I joke about, he didn't even know who Bo Jackson was.
Oh dear.
And when I heard that, my mouth just like fell to the floor. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? It's like, you don't know, do you know who Michael Jordan is? What this kind of thing. But it was refreshing for me to be in that situation where you just realize again, like as much as we love football, like life is so much bigger than that, and there's a lot more going on than just sports. And to be